Well, I searched and searched online. I couldn't find any good videos for first generation Kia Forte. This one has the 2.4 liter, but this whole process would be the same for the 2.0. I started this because I needed to change the air conditioning compressor, which is knocking, and it's in a really bad place. And at the same time, I thought I'd change the condenser and a few other components, some hoses. But to make a long story short, to get the condenser out, or even to get the compressor out, you have to remove the condenser and the radiator. And as you can see, you also have to remove the bumper cover. And I'll shoot a video, I'll shoot a segment when I put the bumper cover back on. It's just the opposite to take it off. But it was my first time. It took me a little while to get it off, but it's not that big a deal. But anyway, the reason I interrupted my job here to do this is that I see that even on the Kia site, even if you pay $20 to go to the Kia site and get the service manuals, there's not enough information to do this job. There are things that they conveniently left out of the process when you're removing this thing. So anyway, the sequence they tell you to do is drain the radiator, because you have to take the radiator out of this. On this version, the first generation, you have to take the radiator out. So you got to drain the coolant and do all that kind of thing. What they didn't tell you is that to get the radiator out, let me sit down and give you a little perspective. You're looking at the passenger side right now. Up on top of the radiator here, you see there's a hose coming out. That's the transmission cooler. A line goes to the transmission cooler right here. Okay, they don't even mention it. But when you take it out, if you don't want to leak out all your transmission fluid all over your driveway, you need to plug off the hole there. And I need to plug this off too. I need to find something I can plug this off with before I move the radiator. So that's one thing they didn't tell you. Other than that, I mean, you can pretty much figure everything else out. You get the condenser and the radiator out. They're telling me to remove this line right here. This line right here, which I haven't done yet. It's the one with the high pressure cap on. The reason you got to take the bumper cover off is that a lot of these things you have no access to. Even a radiator, petcock, you don't have access to. Easy access unless you go through. You can reach your hand in through here and unscrew it. I had to use a pair of pliers to loosen it, but you got to take the bumper cover off. There's no way you could do this job without taking the bumper cover off. That means whether you're replacing the radiator or the condenser, you got to take it off. So let me continue on with this job. I can't think of anything else to say right now. You'll see me put the bumper cover back on and all that kind of stuff. But right now, to the point where I got the fan disconnected, took the electrical cable off the fan. It's disconnected, and I gotta take these two mounts off somehow. These two mounts for the radiator, and push the radiator. Well, first I got to get the fan out of here, I guess. The fan has to come out. This is the fan. They never mention anything about this overflow bottle here. I don't know. It looks like it might be mounted to the same plastic shroud that the electric fan is on. I'm not sure. So anyway, if I find anything else I need to let you know, I'll let you know. Okay, so what I did here was I used a piece of hose between the two and just routed between the two here. And thusly, sorry about that. And that'll keep it from leaking out all over my driveway, and I don't want to lose my transmission fluid either. So, okay, so we're ready to take this out, and I notice now, I don't know if this is going to show up in the camera, but let me see. I can get it in view here. Here. The bolt that holds this mount on is back here. So we got to come in with the socket this way. Probably feels like a 10 millimeter. Let's see. So I got to remove these. Remove this mount and this mount, and hopefully this thing will come loose. Okay, so here's the two shock mounts. Come from the top of the radiator here. Everything seems to be loose. One thing, they don't even tell you to remove the fan, so I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if I'm supposed to pull this all out in one piece or what. So I guess I'm going to find out here pretty soon. I need to disconnect the one hose they told me to here, and then I'm gonna try to pull it out, see what happens. Okay, so I got everything out. You know, like everything else, it wasn't easy because I didn't know how to do it. So, but now I know how to do it. First, you got to remove the fan assembly, and it's attached to the front of this thing by a series of clips like this right here. I just removed these, so I don't want to clip them back in, but the bottom line is that you got to squeeze these, pull them out, while you put a wedge in the bottom to hold the bottom open. And then you're going to pull up on the condenser to get it to release from the radiator. This is the radiator back of the radiator. The fan was attached to the front similarly, but it was inside the vehicle, obviously. And it's got a set of clips on the front here. Hold on a minute. Now, I had to do this from inside the vehicle, but you can see it's got a set of clips here too. Here and here and here and here. And what I did was to get this out of the vehicle first. First I took this hose off, by the way, off the, it was mounted like this inside the vehicle. Okay, I don't want to, I'm afraid it might slide down and lock itself in place again, but what I did was I got two screwdrivers down on the bottom, and I forced them in the bottom clip there, praying that I didn't break that off. And here, the same thing. Oop. Well, you get the idea. Okay, like that. Sorry about that, pressed the wrong button on the camera. Once I got those two in place like that, I was able to, one corner at a time, release the top by pulling out on it and pulling up on the fan. And pulling out on this clip and pulling up on the fan. And that allowed it to clear the clips on the bottom. And once it was loose, it just came right out. And once that was out of the way, then it became a lot easier to get the radiator and the condenser assembly out, because there was plenty of room to get them out. So that's the gist of it. Okay, let's see what we got here. Part of the problem is I'm trying to stay out of the way of the camera. That's not good. I also need a shallow socket, but I don't have one. 12 millimeter. This is going to be a knuckle buster. I'm not careful. Here it is. Okay. Alrighty. Alright. There we go. There we go. There's my drill. Ugh. Back to the 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch drive. Get this out. It's not 12 millimeter. It's 10, 12. All right. Okay. I don't care about opening the system up because I'm not reusing these hoses and I'm not reusing this compressor. So, like I mentioned that once before, let's get these hoses out of here. Come on. Oh. Out of there. The other one's going to take a little work to get out. Got some clamps and some other shit holding it in. Should be wearing gloves. It's greasy down here. So we got 4 bolts holding the compressor on. But we also have frickin' tensioner, belt tensioner. It's almost inaccessible, except maybe from the bottom of the car. I got a choice here. I could cut the belt off and worry about it later, or try to get something on there now and loosen it up. Well, I can loosen these 4 bolts anyway, just for the hell of it. Gotta get a nappy tin here, paper towel in my hand. Alright, let's see. I don't know. I think maybe still 12 millimeter. Could be. Yep. Just break them loose. Didn't want to try to take it out with the belt on. Get them broken loose if I can. I got an impact wrench and a compressor, but I'm too lazy to set them up. There we go. Well, that would be a disaster if I broke a bolt off in here. Whoa. Oops. What do I do there now? Kicked it. There we go. And there's 2 on the bottom. Shit scares me when I hear shit like that. There it is. Okay. Now it's loose. Just went online looking for radiator hoses and couldn't find anybody local that carried them. Might have to order them online. I checked out AutoZone, Advanced Auto, O'Reilly's. Okay, so as you can see, I take the right front wheel off, and I also took this cover out. The cover goes in here. I should have been filming while I took it out, but I didn't think about it. Cover goes in here like this. And there's 3 screws. And I don't know if it's in camera view. Hopefully it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. There's one here, and one in the back up on top. So there's 2 on top and 1 in the side, going through the side like this. Oh, and they're a 10 millimeter. I got some guy doing landscaping behind me, cutting some bushes, so that's why it's so loud. And so hopefully I'll be able to get at the tensioner from here. I can't see it right now. I have to get a mirror and look up in there, but I'm hoping I can get a wrench on a tensioner and then get this belt off so I can remove the compressor. So as you can see, I already pulled the compressor out. It's a no-brainer. I mean, you know, just took the 4 bolts out, and it actually has some guide pins that hold it in place. Even though you take all 4 bolts out, it'll probably stay in place until you pull it off. I was very careful not to spill any oil or anything, but you know what? This thing had no oil in it whatsoever. The old compressor, the original compressor. And where it went and how it got out, I have not a clue. Because the system had pressure, or at least the lines had pressure. Freon pressurized in the system. This thing is bone dry, and that explains the knocking and the noise that was coming from the compressor every time I would engage the clutch. In fact, it's by hand anyway. I cannot rotate it. It gets hung up and it won't go any further. I can't rotate it by hand. So definitely something wrong with this, and how it lost the oil, I have not a clue. But there's a new one. And you know, I'm going to install it, and installation is exactly the same as taking it out. So I'm going to position it and then put the 4 bolts in it, and that'll be that. Okay, so the way this thing works, to get it in there, there's a couple of pins on the engine block there that'll hold it in place if you can get it aligned properly. So let's give it a try here. It's not that heavy, but you know, it's like everything else. It's in a bad location, so we'll try to do whatever we can to get it in there without dropping it. And I think that's pretty much it right there. And I can get 1 bolt in there. Then we'll call it a success. There we go. There we go. So even though you didn't see me take it out, you saw me put it in. So putting it in and taking it out is exactly the same. Okay, so we got 2 bolts in there. It's a little dark out now. Hopefully, you know, you could see that in the video. But so I got the 2 top bolts in. I just need to get the 2 bottom bolts in, and I'll do that now. Why not? Why not? I'll just screw them in by hand. In there. They're threaded. And by the way, I didn't show you how I released the serpentine. I don't recommend this. I don't recommend this, but I'm going to show you how I did it just in case. But I have something on order on Amazon. It's called a I don't know, wrench extender or something like that. I'll put a link in the description. But I got it from the top. And I had a wrench on it. Let's see if I can pull this over a little bit. So we're looking through like the headlight area here now. And I use this kind of ratchet wrench. And you're going to push it away from you towards the windshield, which is counterclockwise. That releases the tension. And then I use a wrench on it to give me some leverage. But I got to tell you, this is not ideal. Because there's a hose in the way here, the power steering hose. Let's see. Power steering hose is in the way here, right here. And it's not ideal. So here's the power steering hose. You can't see the tensioner. It's way down in there. I wasn't able to get it from the bottom because even though I took the wheel off, this arm gets in the way. So even if you try to put extra leverage on with an extra wrench from the bottom there, there's not enough room. So when I get my wrench extender, hopefully that'll do the job. Right now it's getting a little dark out, but even I can't see where the tensioner is. But the camera has better eyes than me, so maybe it's in the camera view. Let me take a look. Ideally, seen other guys mention this, to remove the motor mount, but you got to put a jack under the oil pan. Got to make sure you use a block of wood or a piece of plywood or something to protect the oil pan, but you want to keep the engine from dropping. Take the motor mount off, and it gives you more, gives you some room to look down into there. It's really, it's really tight. This is the worst I've ever worked on, and I've worked on cars for like 30 years now over my lifetime. So, all right. So anyway, that's how I did it. This is a 17 millimeter, by the way, that goes on the adjuster. 17 millimeter wrench. And like I said, I have an extender on order. Okay, so maybe I'm going a little out of order here. I said I got the compressor mounted, but I also bought new hoses. And I'm trying to get these hoses out of here now. And you see I had to remove the power steering pump. And there's some bracketry involved. There's also a ground strap here. What happened to it? Here, ground strap has to be removed. Of course, from the expansion valve, there was a 12 millimeter bolt on the expansion valve that had to be removed to get the pipe loose. And here's a mounting bracket that had to be loosened. And I'm looking for more. And there's another right here. Right here, there's a bolt that's attached to this rubber mount on both sides. I wasn't supposed to take this rubber mount out of here, but it's out of there now. Right here, it's loose. it's got a little, little nib that fits into this bracket. Anyway, I got to take this bracket out. Looks like 10 millimeter again. So, let's see. Yep, 10 millimeter. I'll get back to you. And there's yet another bracket. I don't know if I can get the the camera in there, but right here there's another bracket with a 10 millimeter bolt that goes into the fender here. It's very hard for me to see my phone screen because it's sunny out. And I don't know if I'm actually capturing this. Well, I could see the rubber. So right here's the bolt. Got to be removed. And then hopefully I'm going to be able to pull out both of these hoses as one piece. And I've got the low side, but the liquid line I don't have. For some reason, Rock Auto doesn't. So I think I cut myself off. But what I was saying is that nobody has the hose except for Kia dealers for whatever reason. Rock Auto, where I bought most of my parts, doesn't carry the hose. A few other on-site places don't carry the hose. This is the hose I'm talking about. It's the high side. So what I'm going to do is flush this out. I have a new low side hose that I'll put in, and I have another hose that goes to the condenser. But right now my dilemma is this. This is in the way, the power steering hose. This is in the way. I can't get this up past it to get these hoses out of here. So, Jesus, I hate to have to disconnect the power steering. So maybe I can get it around this way. Up and around through here. I don't know. I'm sweating bullets right now, so I got to go in the house, cool down, and I'll come back out and tackle this later. So there's the hoses. I got it out. Like most things, when you walk away from it for a little while and get back at it, gets to be a little easier. So this is the contortion I had to do with the power steering reservoir and a hose to get it out of the way, and I was able to get the hoses. Once I got the back end out this way, I was able to rotate it around and pull it out this way. Hope I remember how to put it back in that way. Okay, so in the interest of being chaotic and unpredictable, before I do anything else, I know I just pulled the hoses out, but it's been bugging me for a while now. What I need to do is flush that evaporator core out, because that's the only thing in the system beyond the one hose I couldn't find, which I've already flushed. But the evaporator core would be the only thing in the system that I have not replaced, and I'm in no mood to pull dashboards out, so I'm gonna pull out the expansion valve. I've got a new expansion valve, so I don't have to worry about that, but I need to get that out of there so that I can flush it. I believe these are 10 millimeter, but could be wrong. Looks like they're 10 millimeter. Okay. I've got a pan under the car to capture whatever the flush might expel, so it doesn't make a mess. And I do have a compressor, so I'll be able to blow this out once I get the solvent running through it. And this is just a commercially available flush I bought at the O'Reilly's. It's in an aerosol can. There we go. Okay. O-rings here. I want to replace the O-rings. Alright, so we're ready. Let me see if I can get something. We'll just blast it through. I'm gonna say let me see if I can get something to deflect the flush, but it is what it is. Let me shut down here for a minute. I shut down for a minute. I'll get the flush. This is the stuff I'm using. I got it at O'Reilly's, and the only reason I'm using it is because it's the only thing I can find. So it's in an aerosol can. I already flushed the line out with it, and so hopefully there's going to be enough in here to fill up the evaporator core. I got a fresh can here, so whoa boy. Yeah, I think the other can was pretty much empty. Coming out of there big time now. Look at a mess. Alright. So now I gotta go clean myself up here. I got it all over my arm. Who knows where it went on the driveway. Okay, the instructions say you must blow it out with air to get everything out, and then make sure that it's dry. Whoa, boy, that's stupid. It's going to be a lot in the Evaporator. So. Alright, so I guess we got most of it. It says that the stuff evaporates quickly, so hopefully it does. Okay, here's the old expansion valve, here's the new. As you can see, it doesn't come with a stud. I'll have to remove this stud, and it comes with no bolts, no other hardware, so I'll have to deal with that now. And then there's some O-rings on the evap side there. I'll replace those, and then we'll bolt this on, and then we'll tape it off. Alright, let's see, hopefully I'm not going to lose any O-rings here. Just need them for sizing right now, so we'll pull them off. Alright, there's one. I think they're both the same size. Yeah. That makes it easy if they are. I thought one would be larger than the other, but I guess on this end it doesn't matter. You know, it only matters on the expansion valve, I guess. Yep, they're the same size. So both the same size. So I'm going to go off and find 2 new O-rings and be back. Okay, so right now I got some PEG 46 R134 oil here, and I'm going to put some O-rings. Got these O-rings. I'm going to put them on there, and I'm going to seal this off. I got an eyedropper here. Pull up some oil. By the way, if you have a bottle of this stuff, keep the foil seal over the top, because this stuff is like a sponge and it just absorbs moisture. So you want to make sure that you're not I'm just going to put a little oil around the seal here. I don't want to get it over the top of that. I'm going to put the tape. I wanted to get it on the bottom of it, like so. And before the final assembly, I'll put some more oil on it. I'm a big believer in vacuum pumps. Those of you that don't know your physics, moisture boils off in a vacuum. And so when you pull a vacuum on a system, and you leave it on a vacuum for a very long time, by the way, like 2 hours, it'll boil off any moisture that's in the system. It'll just dissipate and it'll become dry air. But we take precautions wherever we can, you know. So that's sealed off. So I'm going to prepare the expansion valve, and then I'll seal that off too, and it'll be ready for the hoses. But once again, I'm going to get a little diverted before I put the hoses in. There's another thing that's been nagging at me, and this is probably something most of you are not going to do. But I did buy also, I bought a new tensioner, belt tensioner, and I bought some Idler Pulleys. There's 3 Idler Pulleys on this engine. They're all the same. They're all smooth, not grooved. They're all smooth, but they are really difficult to replace. You got to put a jack under the engine, support the engine with a piece of plywood or something under the oil pan so that you don't damage the oil pan. Put a jack under the car, put some pressure on the engine, and then remove the motor mount. And you might have to even jack the engine up to get some of the bolts out. So we'll see how that goes. Once again, I changed my mind. What I'm going to do now is I oiled up the orifices here on the new expansion valve, and I'm going to install it. And I covered over the area where the pipes will plug into this thing. So this is what I got going on this morning. Trying to get an early start here before it gets too hot out. But got a jack under the oil pan, block of wood, and I got not putting any real pressure on it. I just want to support it. And what I'm doing here is, as you can see, I've got the power steering reservoir removed, and I got it set off to the side out of the way. And hopefully with the sun, I see the sun's reflecting here, but off the breaker bar. But I've got these bolts loosened, and I'm going to remove the motor mount, and hopefully from there I'll be able to get at the tensioner and some of these idler wheels. One right here is pretty easy to get at, idler wheel, but there's 3 idler wheels. One is on the tensioner, and there's two others fixed like this one. There's one here, and I think there's another one down on the bottom. So once I get this motor mount off, we'll see where we got to go. Okay, so it's out of there. By the way, the socket's a 17 millimeter to get it out of there. And still doesn't look like there's much room to work down there. Still doesn't look like there's much room. Might have to take this out. Although no, maybe not. I don't know where the other bolt's probably on the bottom of this thing. I didn't take this out, but I might have to take the rest of the motor mount out. This piece here, to get my hand down in there, is I don't think I can get my hand down in there. Let me get a flashlight. I'm not sure if that's the idler. Yeah, that's the idler right there. Right there, the one I got my flashlight on. The lower one, there's one here that's just an idler pulley. The tensioner is the one I got my flashlight on. And there's another one around down there somewhere. I don't remember where it is. It's under all this stuff. Oh, right under the tensioner, there's another one. The belt's in the way. Let's see, get the belt out of the way. Well, you can't see. You can see the very top of it down there. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And the belt's in the way. I might be able to get it down through this end here, where I got my flashlight right now. I can probably get that bolt off the tensioner and go from there. I watched one video where the guy said he had to jack up the engine to get that bolt out of there. I hope that's not the case, but we'll see. By the way, this is probably the easiest way to get the belt on too, by removing the motor mount. You know, I mean, everything's visible right now with a belt, so that's a backward thread on that tensioner. You know what? I might take this one out first. Take out the idler on the top, and that'll give me more room to get at that tensioner below it. Okay, so I got this thing all set up. Beginning to wonder whether or not I had to remove the motor mount, but it's off there now. So if you'll notice, you know, your camera perspective right now is going through the headlight. So you might actually be able to do this just by removing a headlight. You might not have to jack up the oil pan and remove the motor mount. We'll see. And by the way, this idler, it's 15 millimeter. The tensioner is 17, but this one is 15 millimeter, and it has a normal thread. It doesn't have a backward thread. You can use a rubber mallet like I do here for a little impact, if you need impact to loosen it up. Like that. Now the bolt's loose. And this should come right out of here. But this is the easy one. The one on top is the easy one. Hard to believe this job started with the air conditioner. But sometimes when you're there, you know, you're in there, you got all this shit removed. Sometimes you're better off replacing things that you know are probably, you know, going to go bad in the future. I've had these things go bad before in many other vehicles. The idler pulleys, usually they're accessible. They're pretty accessible, but on this car, forget about it. Wow. Even this one I'm having trouble. My biggest fear is it's going to hit the fender well here. The bolt, it's only got about another ½ inch there. Not even. I can't even get the wrench in there other than taking it out is probably the easy part. Getting the bolt back in there is going to be the hard part. Alright, looks like it's going to, there it is. Alright, so, it's loose, it's out of there, but is there room to pull it out? That's the question of the day. Oh, now, there you go. There you go. Like I said, this is the easy one. What I'm going to do is mark this so that I know where it came from, and I'll be back. Okay, now we're going to go for the gold. That the wrench is on the tensioner right now. Hopefully that thing is going to come out of there. Hopefully there's enough space between the fender and the the bolt has enough room to get out of here. What I'm going to do is use my mallet to break it free. Remember, this is 17 millimeter and it's a backward thread. So it might look like I'm tightening it, but I'm actually loosening it. So let's get it loose. There it is. It's loose. Got it loose. A few more beats here. There it is. Okay. And no way to get your hands in here other than through the side. This is going to be a bitch getting back in. Get the damn hope or the belt out of the way here. Come on. I don't know if this is worth it. I don't know if this is worth it or not. I seem to get the belt out of the way here. Wow, I got a ratchet. I'm gonna get I got a flat ratchet with a 17 millimeter. I'm gonna get that. Okay, this might be much better. Get it in here. I don't forget that it's a backward thread. Well, it's so loose now that it won't, can't ratchet it. Try to do it by hand. Almost impossible. You would think that they would have put an access hole here through the fender well to get at this shit. Morons. Frickin' morons. So they have to pull the engine to do this. Unbelievable. Watched another guy's video that did it on a 2011. He said he had to jack the engine up to get the bolt out. I'm beginning to believe him. I'm beginning to believe it, because I don't know how much space is left there, but I don't think there's too much more space there. Wow. Wow, it better come loose soon, because I'm not going to be able to get it out of there. I don't know if it's loose yet. Nope. All right. Cool down a little bit inside it. The air conditioner. This thing is just about touching the fender. There's no way in the world I'm going to get this thing out of here. I'm almost thinking that I should get out my acetylene torch and just cut the head off. I'd be done with it. It's already hitting the fender well, I think. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Don't panic. Don't panic yet, bud. I'm able to turn it with my hands. Oh, Jesus, look at me. You know what I was doing, right? I was tightening it. It's a backward thread, turning it the wrong way with my fingers. Putting it back in instead of taking it out. Yeah, it's loose now, but ain't gonna get it out. Ain't coming out. Not coming out. That's why the guy in the other thread that did the 2011 said he had to jack up the motor to get the bolt out. Isn't that stupid? I mean, isn't that idiocy at its best? I guess I gotta jack up the motor to get enough of an angle to get the bolt out of there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm putting a shorter bolt in there. What are they, fucking idiots? No reason to have a bolt so long into something like that. This is a prime example of engineering stuff, and you know, like the engine, and then installing the engine. Say, well, it fits. Everything's good. It fits. I guess nobody ever thought that they would have to remove that bolt at one time. All right, this is the part that I don't like. I don't like this at all, having to jack this engine up. But I used to have another car. There was a Dodge. Yeah, well, I can't remember. Yeah, well, anyway, it was a Dodge, a small Dodge. And you used to have to jack up the engine like this to change the timing belt. Put it at a really weird angle, and it was scary doing that, I can tell you. Well, it looks like that worked. Something fell off on the ground, probably a washer or something. Okay, here's the new one. So luckily it came with the washer and everything, so it came partially assembled so that I know how it goes. And here's the hidden bolt on it. And so looking at the one that's on there right now, the bolt would be on the bottom. And probably, I don't know, probably looks like a 17 millimeter again. Another really long bolt. Wow. Man. This might be another one that I have a problem getting out of there. Gonna have to go at it with a socket. All right, so let me get my tools ready. It's a half-inch dry, but I don't know what this is. 21 point. I don't like using these things, but when you gotta use what you gotta do what you gotta do. I can't see it. I might have to put a mirror down there so I can see it. Feel it. I gotta take a look at it. I'm taking a guess on 17 millimeter. It might not even be. So sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. The hardware on the new one is a little different. The bolt that I had trouble getting out of, the bolt that was so long that we had to jack the engine up. Well, on the new one, it's a lot shorter, and it's not a 17 but a 15. I think this is probably a 15. Holding. Try. See what we got. Okay, so it is a 17 down there. I got it loose with the breaker bar. Like I said, I don't like using, but you're probably going to have to use this because you can't get, with a 6-pointer or whatever, you can't get it positioned right. So now that I got it loose, I'm just going to use the socket by hand to get it out. I gotta tell you, this would probably be impossible to do if you hadn't at least taken out the headlight here. And you do need to take the motor mount out. Just had to go run down the driveway, my steep driveway, for this socket. I think this thing is loose enough to come out of here now. Huh? That's the problem with me. I think too much. All right. Okay. There she goes. So I got one more idler pulley. Maybe it's in camera's view, maybe probably isn't, but you get the gist of it now. It's right below the alternator, below it and off to the left of it, if you're looking at straight at the engine. So I'm not going to film that because, hey, you already have seen it. So it's just an idler pulley, and it's got a 15 millimeter bolt. And it doesn't look like it's going to be any problem taking it out of there, so no big deal. Okay, so got them all back in the tensioner. I'm sorry, this is not the tensioner. This is an idler wheel. Below it is the tensioner and another idler on the bottom here. So all three. They went in pretty easy. The hard part was getting them out. Curiously, the tensioner came with a shorter bolt, It's only a 15 millimeter, not a 17 millimeter, but it came with a shorter bolt, and I used a shorter bolt. So if ever I have to take this thing out again, I won't have to jack the engine up like this again. But I pretty much finished that part of the job anyway. I'm going to leave the motor mount off until I route the belt and put the belt on. One thing I am going to do is the compressor's on loose. I didn't bolt it down yet, but I've seen at least 2 threads that tell me that it would behoove me to open it up and pour the oil out and put my own clean oil in there. It takes 4 ounces. I think I will do that just for the hell of it, just in case. You know, I want to put a little dye in there too. So okay, so I checked the oil, changed it actually, changed the oil in the condenser. Now I put it back in. Before we get back to the air conditioning, time to put the belt back on. This is the best time when the motor mount's still off. It won't be too hard to replace. I printed this from the internet. This is my configuration for the belt. Yours might be different. I don't know. But I can't film this because too many obstructions, too hard to film. But the bottom line is that I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to hopefully end up at the top here and push the tensioner and slide the belt on the top of the power steering pump here. That's the plan anyway. We will see. Okay, so I did as I said I was going to do. I drained the oil out of the brand new compressor, and that's what we got. There's 150 cc, and I spilled a little bit, so there was probably an even 5 ounces, because 150 cc is 5 ounces. So the system's supposed to only have 4 ounces, but this is not an exact science, so I hardly doubt that 1 ounce is going to make a hill of beans in the car, but that's what they had in there, 5 ounces. And that's what I put back in the compressor. As one other thing, I've got the compressor already back in the car, so I don't want to mess with it. There it is, right there. It's bolted down. But I do want to bring this up because there's a lot of misinformation on the internet about these compressors. And this one in particular has a drain plug right here. This is the old one. On a new one, it's hidden under the connector. You have to take this connector off, take the screw out, move the connector out of the way, and then there's a drain plug underneath it. I don't know if you can see it here or not. Well, you can't see the drain plug, but the connector is covering over the top of it. So, to make a long story short, I see a lot of guys on the internet, they tell you to turn this thing upside down and rotate the, the shaft, not the pulley, but the shaft. And, you see oil draining from the 2 ports. I tried that, and I got maybe ½ ounce out of this thing, and I was actually rotating it with a driver, screwdriver, not this one, but the new one, okay, to remove the oil. And I got nothing out of it until I found out that there was a drain plug under here. And that's where I got the 5 ounces. So just be aware of that. I see a lot of misinformation about these compressors online. So what you want to do is take the factory drain it out, and put some fresh PEG oil in. I don't have, here's a container of PEG 46 for R134. And so now I know I have fresh oil in there. So okay, now I don't want to scare the shit out of anybody, but I just started at 7, let's see, what time is it now? It's like 12:40. 7 o'clock this morning after I dropped my wife off from work, I started working on this, and my mission was to get the serpentine on, and I did get the serpentine on twice. This is the old belt, and I put that on twice. This morning I put it on just to make sure everything was okay and I was doing it right. And I got a diagram here, by the way. I don't know if that's showing up in the picture. There, right there, a diagram of how the belt's supposed to go and all that. So I put the belt on, and everything was hunky-dory, and I took it off, and I tried to put the new belt on, and 5 hours later, I gave up on it. It's just a little too short, just a little bit. It just won't clear the tension, not the tensioner, but the Idler Pulleys. It just won't go on, period, end of story. So I reverted back to the old belt here, and I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so one last thing I got to do here now with this idler wheel tensioner stuff and belt is get the motor mount back on. And here's the hardware over here. And then I can take it off the jack, take the engine off the jack. And let me see, can I? Then we can get back to the air conditioning. I mean, this whole job started as a way to replace the air conditioner, and now I'm, off on a tangent here doing other things. Okay, so finally get back to the air conditioning here. Got the radiator over here, and I've got the new condenser over here, and I'm going to join the two with the clips and then install it. Well, let's see. I'll block the view here, but it's not rocket science. So you can see they got some foam rubber. I don't know how long that's going to last, but that's to block the air between the two, I guess, or funnel the air between the two. So you can see it snaps into these clips here on both sides. If I can get the other side on, you gotta put this side on first. Kind of awkward here, but get it going. Okay, that one side is on. It's not on, but it's, uh-oh. What's going on here now? Tell me this thing doesn't fit. There we go. Tight fit. Let's see. This thing lined up. That's halfway. This doesn't look like it. It looks like it's tight. Width-wise. So let's see if we can get it down here. Might have to put a rubber mallet on it. A little persuasion there. Where's my rubber mallet? Right here. Need to make sure the bottom gets in. Don't want to damage anything here. See, it's in the bottom clip now and the top clip. It's not fully down yet. I want to get this other side in. This side, the bottom clip is out, so I got to take it out now. Oh boy, tight. It's really tight. if you can see that, but this is out. Okay, I gotta get it in the bottom. There we go. Okay. And let's see. This is not fully in. This side came out. This thing really looks like it's tight in here. Like it's not sized right. I think the bottom got bent. No, but it's enough to make me nervous though. Bottom in here. There you go. Everything's seated and it's in. Looks like I might have bent this a little bit. I don't know if that was me or if it came that way. Not going down any further, so that's it. Okay, so time to put it in, and I'm just standing here thinking, well, which way should I show this? I'll do this first. What's in camera view here? Let's see, front of the car. This is the way it goes in. Okay, and there's some rubber bumpers on the bottom. Goes into radiator, goes into, and that's it right there. And once you get the bottom lined up with the bumpers, let's see where we can put this. If you remember these, we took them off a little while ago. They go here on both sides like this, and it screws in from the back here. It's a 10 millimeter like that. Okay, let's see, let me get a socket. Doing this on the blind because I really can't see where this screw goes, bolt goes. I have to feel around for it. There, I think that's it. I'm going to leave it a little loose for now. I want to get the other end in. What do I do with it? Oh, here it is. Alright, I don't know how much of this is going to show up on the camera, but I'm doing my best with the phone and a tripod. There you go. Yep, that's got it right there. This goes back on here. Little difficult. Take the bolt out here so that I don't bend up things here too much. Yeah. Okay, that should be it. Oh, this one was a bit difficult because the fill neck's in the way there. I remember when I took it out, kind of awkward. Yeah, you know. I think that's in the hole. Maybe I have to get my ratchet to do this. Yeah, it's in the hole. Either way you want to do this, it's not ideally located, this one. But we'll get it. Let me try to get it started by hand first. Nope. Alright, I'll get back to this. It's getting too long here now, but you got the gist of it, and you might have to play with this a little bit to get it in there, but I'm focused on getting the liquid line and the suction line hooked up to the condenser and the compressor so that I can put this thing under a vacuum and make sure I don't have any leaks. So I got to get the other hose in, and I'm doing this separately, by the way. They have clips and shit, you know, that attach it to the fender well here, and I decided not to try to attach them together and then put it in as one piece, because I don't want to distort these O-rings. I want this, when I bolt it down here, I want it to be how would you say, like a natural fit, not constrained by any brackets or anything else. I can put the brackets on. There's one still on there. I can add the brackets after I hook up the lines so that I'm, you know, I can adjust them properly to, here's a hole right here so that I can, there's a hole for a bracket right there. I don't know if yeah, right there. Okay. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to put the lines in. Here's the other line. It's a brand new line. Okay, I'm going to try to show you how to wiggle these hoses in on a long shot like this. Hopefully I'll get it all in. Basically, you got to get the power steering reservoir out of the way. And we're going to wiggle the hose in between here. This is where I'm going to begin. And it's going to be up high, so let's see if we can get it in the shot. The sun might be a problem here. Let's see if we can get it over there. Of course, this end, of course, goes in last. This, you're going to wiggle in like this, get it down where the compressor is. Take your time. This is how I got it out. Better go back in that way. I just realized that I didn't have the condenser in when I did this last time. There we go. There we go. And you can see I'm down near the compressor now. I just got to, you know, the ground cable was off already. This is out of the way. And so we just got to finagle this thing. I'm not going to do it one-handed, but maybe I'll leave the camera here. Take your time, you don't want to bend this thing, for sure. There you go. Something like that, I think. Get it in there. Okay, that's almost there. Flat. Down. Almost there. I don't know what's hanging up here. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Alright, so we got all the lines in, and we're doing vacuum. I got my friend Abby with me here helping me out. And we got the fan back in. That takes a little finagling to get it in there. But fan's in, and we're putting the radiator hoses on now. I have new hoses for the radiator. And that's about it. So when we get the radiator hoses on, by the way, we have to plug the fan in here. Here's the, here. I was sorry I didn't make the video. I've been slacking off on the video, but we just filled the system. What we did first was vacuum it down for about 2 hours. And then we added 18 ounces of Freon, which is what Kia says it takes. And looks like it's all working. A lot of people ask me, you know, what should the pressures be? Doesn't matter what the pressures be, as long as you put the right amount of Freon in it. Just go by that. So, pretty much done here. All we need to do is put the bumper cover back on, and that'll be the end of this long video. Okay, so we've begun to put the bumper cover back on, and since you never saw me take it off, I promised that I would show you how to put it back on. You got 4 of these plastic screws here, you know, the expandable rivets, and don't push anything yet. And you align this thing, hold on a minute. This is the headlight, the area of the headlight. Align it so that it goes into the clips, the area of the headlight. And then, no, close the gap. Okay. And then give it a good slap. Give it a good slap. You got it. That's it. That's it. And there's a screw that goes up under here. Yeah, I see there's one over here. Let me get the screw. Here's the screw. And here's a screwdriver.
Couldn't see. You got the flashlight.
If I remember correctly, look, it's not on the lip there. It's like in a hole back here, cavity of some sort.
Let me get the flashlight.
Yeah, there's
I couldn't see it. It's a dark.
Well, I don't know where you put it. Is it still on charge?
Let's see.
It's right here where my finger is, I think. Right here. There's a hole here. See it?
Yep, yep. Okay.
So when you remove this bumper cover, it's going to be a little awkward to pull it out, but just give it a good yank and it's going to come out. Okay. You only have to take one screw out of this thing. That's the direction the screw went in?
Yeah, but it going just like angle like that. It's not like straight.
Okay.
It's angle like
All
that.
Right, okay.
That's it.
All right. Just do the other side. Don't mess with that now.
No, this one goes like behind the...
Yeah, I know, but we're not, we're going to put the other side on first.
Where's the screw?
Good question. Make sure it's lined up here.
Yeah.
Here. Get it in the clips here. Yeah. There you go. Okay. You got the screwdriver?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
It?
Yep.
There's some again with that. I think those are more of those plastic things. Let me take a look.
Okay.
I don't remember. Give me some light. Is it attached?
Yes, this one go behind the
right.
bumper right here.
And there's no holes that you see or anything where I took a fastener out?
I don't see any hole. Let me see.
I'm going to close this down for a minute. This is how you get the headlight out. Pretty easy. You might even be able, if you're doing the tensioners or you're replacing a belt, this is probably the easiest way to gain access that you ordinarily wouldn't have through the headlight here. Like the two bolts out, they're just 10mm screws. There's only two on the top. Obviously, take the connector off the back. And I'll lose the bolts in my pocket. I take the, a lot of people, even I was a little apprehensive about this at first, but you got to pull it out a little bit, wiggle it around, and there's a clip on the bottom here. I'll show you after I get it out. I mean, you got to pull on it to get it to release. Don't break anything. Okay. This is the clip, and it plugs into a slot here on the wheel, on the fender. So that's why it's so difficult to pull it out. It just doesn't come out. But put it back in, just the opposite. Slap it so that the clip goes in. Put it in place. Two bolts back in. and you're done. That's it.